and welcome to race number 4 in the action-packed Ocean Man series. Ocean Man is the World Championships of Lifesaving, where lifeguards from around the globe compete to be number 1. Today, you will see athletes compete both as individuals and teams. The international competitors represent New Zealand, America, Japan, South Africa, Europe, Sweden, Great Britain, and Australia. Many have spent months away from home training for this premier event. The race consists of a blistering soft sand run, an intense paddleboard leg requiring upper body and lower body strength, a grueling ocean swim, and a kayak leg, combining strength and supreme balance, all brought to a worldwide audience for the very first time in history. Ocean Man's goal is to hold this exciting event at some of the world's most exotic beaches. Race number 1 was held in Piha, New Zealand, where the waves were huge and the action out of control. Coming out on top was surf legend Trevor Hendy. He used his superior wave knowledge to move ahead on the final kayak leg. For the women, veteran Carla Gilbert showed some great surfing skills as she took out the inaugural Ocean Man title. For race number 2, we traveled to Kuta Beach in Bali, Indonesia. The conditions were fierce. Blasting heat and steaming sand made it truly survival of the fittest. One of the young guns of the sport, Phil Clayton, took advantage of one of the better waves of the day to move ahead in the final swim leg. And Simone Cotter showed her rivals she has what it takes as she won in a sprint to the finish. Ocean Man race number 3 was held on the golden beaches of Mooloolaba, located on Australia's famous Gold Coast. Here we saw rainy, flat conditions, producing a grueling race that tested the athletes' brute strength and endurance. Josh Blair fought off a strong challenge by the Mercer brothers for his first Ocean Man win. And Team New Zealand's Kim Tennell made history by being the first ever international winner. She gone! Oh yeah! For today's race, we're in Southern California on Laguna Beach, where close to 50 of the best athletes in the world have gathered to see who will master America. So as we move into the second half of the series, it's not only a battle for the day's title, but who will emerge on top overall. First up are the women, and they can be just as competitive as the men. And our previous event showed just that. 3 races, 3 different winners, and only 3 points separating our top 4 places overall. It's been exciting, and today's race should be no different. In both of the past 2 races, Reen Corbett has finished second. In Bali, so close it was almost impossible to tell who won. Here at Laguna Beach, she's poised to take out her first win of the Ocean Man series and claim the overall lead.
The series is all about being consistent, so I've been consistently number 2, so hopefully now I can be consistently number 1.
Another competitor to watch is Team New Zealand's Kim Tennell. She won our last event in Mooloolaba and made history by being the first ever international winner.
The international competitors are just getting so much stronger each time, and to be the first New Zealand competitor to win internationally, it was a great feeling.
Here are the women's standings as we head into round number 4 here at Laguna Beach.
In the top spot, it's Stacey Gartrell, followed by Cotter, Gilbert, Tennell, and in equal 5th, Corbett and Holmes, Ireland. Kirsty had a great race in Mooloolaba. And in the international teams competition, Carla Gilbert from Australia and Kim Tennell from New Zealand fighting it out. That's how they stand, and they're off in round 4 of the World Ocean Man series. Joining me once again is Grant Kenny for the race call. Grant, as we've seen in every race prior to this, they go out fast as they can on this run.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's pretty important for them to get established early. You can see that the pack is very tight. And one thing you don't want to be is at the back of that pack when you eventually hit the water. So a good run start is always important.
Kim Tennell, Team New Zealand, out in front, followed by Anna Ballar from Team Europe. Both of those two women have been out in front every single race.
Yeah, they've both put in a big effort early in all the races so far. Kim, of course, is a great triathlete and obviously a very strong runner, and she's making the most of it. It was interesting to see there, you watch the competitors when they're running into the water, they're lifting their knees up until it gets a little too deep. That's so that there's less drag, and then they start this dolphin diving or porpoising that we're seeing now.
Well, we see that's Linda Halfwig. She's the rookie. This is her first race in the World Oceanman Series. She's leading out the women as they head through this Laguna surf.
Yeah, not much of a break to negotiate today, but there have been a few swells coming in. Up this down the southern end of the beach where they're swimming out, it's been pretty clear water, and I've noticed a few waves breaking in further to the north, which is where they'll be making their way in, so they'll be very much looking forward to picking up a wave on the way back.
On the right-hand side of your screen there, you see Stacey Boley, Team South Africa. She's now leading the swim portion, and we heard Kim Tennell talk about it earlier. The international teams really are making a statement.
Yeah, they are, and this is where they've been typically better, is when they haven't been on the craft, but gradually through the series they've been getting stronger and stronger.
Grant, you'll notice just coming around the buoy in the black and white is the colors of the wild card. That's Diane Grainer. She's actually on a relay team. She and Erica Keithley are forming an American relay team today. She's sitting comfortably behind Stacey Boley in second place.
Yeah, very strong swimmer. And let's take a look at the course now. This is what they'll be swimming around. You see they've done the run, then they make their way out to sea across the back of those 4 buoys and back in a rectangular shape. So that's the swim course for the women here today, and as they're making their way across the back of those buoys, it is still Stacey Boley in front, and I think I can see Linda Halfwig there, which is a good performance from her early on.
That's Stacey Gartrell on the inside, about to pass Diane Grainer. Stacey Gartrell, obviously we talked about her a number of times. She is the strongest swimmer in the field, a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. She'll now move to the front.
Yeah, and while she loves flat water, and there's a few waves here, and there's one picking up now as we speak. Will they get it? No, they don't. But she likes the flat water, and although we've got a few waves in close, really out the back it's still pretty flat, so she would be really just loving these conditions.
Well, Stacey now has moved to the lead. She's equal first with Stacey Boley. That's Diane Grainer, you can see right behind Stacey Gartrell. Now as these ladies move into the surf line, they'll start to look for those waves. As you said, Grant, we see a beautiful underwater shot, and here's a great shot from the helicopter. 2 different groups we saw going north and south.
That's right, paddle boards lined up there ready. That of course will be the next leg, and looking under their shoulder there, they look under their arm for any little waves. Nothing much there for anybody, so this has been a hard one for them. They've had to swim all the way to the beach. I think on the left of screen though we might see Stacey Gartrell, I think, is already up and running. That's Stacey Boley we can see. Yes, there's Stacey Gartrell. So making their way onto the beach now for the transition to the board, it is Stacey Gartrell in the lead as expected.
Stacey Gartrell coming through the banner, and as we see her come through the Foster's banner, but there is Stacey Boley actually in first place. Team South Africa, she must have had a great entry into the surf line. That's Nikki Hudson, the Team USA entered. Heidi Hanenian still injured.
Yes, and I think Stacey Boley actually had the straighter line. In fact, that really showed how important it is to make a straight line to the beach. She hit the beach right at the turning point, whereas Stacey Gartrell had to run right up the beach. So good surf skills there from the South African competitor.
We've talked about all the swimmers, but take a look at this. Team New Zealand's competitor, Kim Tennell, right there on equal first after that run leg with Stacey Boley. She will have to be someone the rest of the competitors will watch out for this race. She is by far the strongest runner in the field, as we see Annika Morin from Team Sweden coming through, and that's Denby Holmes Stokes also coming through the banner. There's Peta Starr taking her board out.
Okay, so let's take a look at the board paddle now, and that's it in white. They'll head straight back out. They'll go past the swim buoys that they've already gone around and make their way across the back. Once again, in a rectangular shape, and now Kim Tennell, as you said, the strongest runner, but she has just hit the lead in the board paddle.
We see a few of the competitors getting hit by those inconsistent waves coming through. Kim now about to go around that first Foster's buoy. It looks as though she's lengthened her lead a little bit. Stacey Boley coming in just behind her, and Stacey Gartrell in third.
Yeah, Kim Tennell had a pretty quiet sort of a swim. She didn't really feature in it. She was first into the water and sort of dropped back, but obviously not too far back because she's been able to close the distance in that very short run, and now she's putting in a very powerful board paddle.
one of the great board paddlers as well. We haven't seen her yet in the series, but we talked about her. The rookie, Linda Halfwig, she's sitting right behind Stacey Gartrell right now in 4th position. Kim Tennell going around that Foster's buoy. Grant, as we see this wave coming through, it'll be interesting to note whether or not any of these competitors can make use of this surf. And look at this. She might be on this. This is absolutely incredible if she can stay with it, taking the big strokes, and she is.
Yeah, that was a great bit of surfing. She really had to work hard to pump the board onto that. You can see, well, that's a great shot. Look at the gap she's opened up. The wave still hasn't even broken, so she's had to work really hard to get on that wave in the first place. And there's the risk, of course, that you're going to expend a huge amount of energy. Oh, she nearly loses it. Holding onto the straps. Well done there, Kim Tennell. So Kim Tennell of New Zealand, with a lot of hard work, has pulled onto that wave and opened up a massive lead.
And take a look at that gap, Grant. It's incredible, the distance. It seems as though the rest of the ocean has gone flat as Kim Tennell now has completed half of the course. They will go through a run in the middle of this race and then do the swim and paddleboard legs again. But we've talked about it already. Kim Tennell, by far the best runner. I'd have to say at this point, the race could almost be over. What are the rest of the competitors thinking?
Well, at the moment, here they are making their way still back towards the beach. And this is your worst nightmare. Seeing the competitor in front turn around the can, turn around the buoy, and pick up a wave straight away. You look over your shoulder, and there's nothing there for you.
That's Linda Halfwig on the left of your screen, Carla Gilbert in the middle, and Stacey Gartrell, who was on the right but is now on the left. You see her just lose her board. So that's your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th competitors. Linda Halfwig in the pink hat, number 19 in 2nd. Carla Gilbert, number 1 ranked competitor in 3rd.
So now they'll make one complete lap of this run. You can see the course there. They'll run all the way from the right-hand side of your screen, which is where they've come in from the water, around to the across to the left, back to the right, back to the left again, and re-enter the water on the left-hand side of the screen to repeat the entire course. So just to say again, we're now halfway through this women's race, and there's Reen Corbett, the former world board paddling champion, chasing this girl, the leader, Kim Tennell.
Reen looks as though she's in that 2nd attack pack, but we see a great shot there of the lead that Kim Tennell actually has. There is the other wildcard team member, Erica Keithley, Team USA wildcard. She, as you remember, is teaming with Diane Grader. Erica just doing the board paddle. There's Stacey Gartrell. She's in 4th right now, but here's our leader, Kim Tennell, just looking very comfortable. And Grant, both you and I know this, when you're ahead in a race, everything just seems to come easier.
Certainly does, and even with these two running well, and both of these are good runners. That's Linda Halfwig on the left and Carla Gilbert on the right, working together, still chasing Kim Tennell. Put yourself in Kim's position. She's just opened up a lead of about 100 metres. She knows that she's the strongest runner in the pack, and she's feeling good about herself. We're halfway through the race. She's thinking, well, I've got a decent sort of at least a bit of comfort up my sleeve now.
Well, I said earlier that I didn't think anyone could catch Kim Tennell, but there is the chance that someone could catch a wave behind her, just like she did, to get this big lead.
Yeah, let's remember too, as we look at Fukiko Sato from Team Japan running into the water, that somebody like Stacey Gartrell is just a fantastic swimmer. She seems to get better and better relative to the rest of the competitors as the race goes on. So there's always that chance that disregarding whatever may happen with surf, that she could just physically close the gap. A long way to go in this race.
Those are some great shots from Craig Riddington in the Ocean Cam camera. Kim Tennell bursting through the surf line right there in clean water, and their 2nd and 3rd place, Linda Halfwig and Carla Gilbert.
Yes, and the interesting thing is now that Kim's going to have to sit out there and work on her own, and these two are going to work hard together, and it's always a little bit easier. They may even start to alternate leads, and that would be if, for example, Linda sat right on the feet of Carla Gilbert. She'll get dragged along and probably only have to work at about 75 or 80% of the normal race pace, and then after a while they'll probably swap that around, so the competitor in front is going to go extra hard, knowing that they don't have to do it as long, and then they'll get a little bit of a break. And that's probably the sort of tactics they'll be thinking about now to close the gap on race leader Kim Tennell.
And there is Carla Gilbert and Linda Halfwig. Grant, let's talk a little bit about Linda Halfwig. This is her first Oceanman race, but what has she done prior to this? I know she's been a great competitor throughout Australia.
Yeah, she's been very, very good, and she started off as a youngster of only 13, really starting to give some of the open competitors a run for their money. And as she's developed over the years, she's just got better and better, and unfortunately she hasn't been able to attend any of the previous events in the series so far this year. But really, she is a competitor that they're all very, very afraid of back in Australia, and as she is getting older and maturing more, she is just getting better and better by the day.
Well, we see a shot there. Carla Gilbert has been able to open up a substantial lead, but look at that on the bottom of your screen. Stacey Gartrell, again, such a strong swimmer. She's just eating up the distance between her and first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's to be expected. She is the strongest swimmer in the field.
She's moved into third place behind Carla Gilbert. I would guess that by the time we hit shore, she should be in second place behind Kim Tennell.
Yeah, well, there's Kim now. Oh, she's got hit in the head by that wave. That was terrible timing for her. Wow, look at that. It pushed her over about 3 meters. She's wiping her eye. They're probably just getting a bit of sand out. Now she dives down. But that wave was she was right in the wrong position for that. It landed right on the back of the head. That usually happens from not looking back enough to see what's coming, Craig.
Well, Kim is on shore again and using her strongest leg, the run, to attack even further. We'll have to wait and see. Here's a bit of a swell building up behind Stacey Gartrell and Carla Gilbert. And look at that. Carla not able to stay in the whitewater, but there a great shot of Stacey Gartrell. She's trying to stay with the force of the wave as long as she can and get pushed forward.
Well, you can see by that she in fact wasn't even on the wave. She was getting dragged along behind it. But Carla Gilbert probably lifted her head a little early. And there's Stacey Gartrell. So we'll see how much gap that's translated to for Stacey. And just remember, Stacey and Carla were right beside each other. And now, as we can see, Stacey Gartrell is probably some 30 or 40 meters ahead.
Oh, Grant, take a look at that. Look at Kim Tennell's eye. That's blood coming out of her eye. We thought maybe it was just sand when she stood up there a little bit, but that is blood. She must have hit her face against the bottom with that wave. So near disaster. Take a look at that. That's absolutely incredible, the amount of blood coming out from under her left eye.
Yeah, Reen Corbett runs around now, the former world champion, former Australian Ironwoman champion. But for Kim Tennell, I'm wondering whether she's actually split her eye, whether she's grazed it. If it's a split, having your head down like that and going so hard in a race, with the blood pressure increasing like that, really will make it bleed quite vigorously, I would imagine. This is gutsy effort by her to go on from that.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be affected. Her paddle stroke, that's Denby Holmes Stokes right there coming through the banner. Denby did very well in the Lulaba. She's a little off the pace right now, though. Our leader, Kim Tennell, coming around that Foster's buoy, still with a very comfortable lead.
Yeah, you notice as she went around there, she laid down. Most of the girls, and the guys, in fact, we'll see later, tend to lie down as they make that turn. It's a little bit more stable, and there's an idea of the gap. She's really opened up a huge gap here. Stacey Gartrell through into second place now. The girls tend to lie down to rest the legs as they turn, and I noticed she had a little look over her shoulder just to see how far back it was to the second place competitor.
And it's interesting to note someone like Stacey Gartrell, a stronger swimmer, will tend to stay prone throughout the whole race because that utilizes her swim technique even more.
Absolutely. A lot of the girls are doing that, but the better board paddlers, those that are actually stronger in their own right in the board, as we watch Lisa Lower run into the water, will actually do what Kim does, and that's they get up on their knees, because that is a much more powerful position, but it is a lot more tiring. So typically, the swimmers will stay lying down in the prone position. The more powerful board paddlers will be up on the knees.
Well, this is Kim Tennell. This is the final leg of Oceanman round number 4 here at Laguna Beach. It doesn't look as though she's going to be caught by anyone.
Well, it's going to take a big wave. Stacey Gartrell comes around the corner now. She'd have to pull into something huge because Kim's going to get this wave in close. Is she? No, she's not. She just drops off the back, but I tell you what, I think it's all over from here. Kim Tennell has put in a fantastic race. That little bit of a break she got early translated into basically the winning lead at that point.
That's absolutely correct. A very happy Kim Tennell. She's done something that no one else has done. She made history in round number 3, winning in the Lulaba, being the first ever international winner. But she actually now, Grant, is the first woman to win back-to-back races. So she's made history again.
Absolutely. It's been a great turn for her. She's just been getting stronger and stronger through this season. And now to win here at Laguna will just really be the icing on the cake for her.
Look at this exciting finish. That's Stacey Gartrell on the left-hand side of your screen. She's going to have to get up and run. It looks as though that's Carla Gilbert and Linda Halfwig. Linda Halfwig up and running, a better runner than Stacey Gartrell, but Stacey with it looks like just enough of a lead to maintain that second position. But look at Linda Halfwig finish, Grant. Absolutely incredible from this youngster.
Oh, super finish. Stacey Gartrell in second, Linda Halfwig third, and Carla Gilbert comes through in fourth place.
It's a very tough race. You know, you never go into a race thinking you're going to win it, or you're going to win it if you've got a long lead, because anything can happen. But when I come down the last wave, I knew I had it. It's great for New Zealand. And all the people watching back home in New Zealand, I just want to say thanks very much for your support. It's been wonderful for me.
Here are the official results from round 4. We've seen the top 4 in 5th, Reen Corbett, 6th, Kirsty Holmes, Ireland, and a disappointing result for Simone Cotter in 7th. The team competition, Kim Tennell in 1st from New Zealand, Carla Gilbert 2nd, Stacey Boley from South Africa in 3rd, and Annika Morin from Sweden in 4th.
Stay with us, the men's race coming up next. Baywatch is one of the hottest shows in the world, and a select group of our Oceanman competitors got to hang out on the set with some of Hollywood's biggest celebrities.
Well, we're definitely coming to Australia to shoot the Iron Women competition.
It's a good thing our competitors have to concentrate on their race. I think they could get used to this lifestyle. We'll be back with the men's competition right after this. Like the women, the men have had 3 races and 3 different winners. Joshua Blair has a comfortable cushion in the overall standings, but today it's anyone's race as the men hit the surf. No matter what the conditions today, there will be 2 competitors who will use the elements and each other to get the best result. The Mercer brothers, Darren and Dean, work together in Mooloolaba to move past their rivals. Dean finishing 2nd and Darren a few seconds behind in 3rd place. Dean is currently 2nd place overall in the series, and both brothers will try to go after 1st place here in Laguna.
The Mercer brothers would love to make it 1-2 this time. In what order? Well, we don't know. We'll have to fight the order out, I think. Yeah.
We'll see whether they're able to frustrate the competition again today. The men's race is next. Stay with us.
Darren Mercer's in 8th place going into today. Brother Dean is tied with Steve Pullen for 2nd. Kane Hoosner is in 4th. And 2 people to watch, Corey Hutchins, Team New Zealand, back from illness, and Tim Gare, Team USA, is on his home soil. So as the men get ready for the start, there is our official starter, Angelica Bridges, one of the new stars of Baywatch. Grant, just like we saw in the women's race, the men are out to a blistering pace.
You know, it surprises me sometimes how fast these guys are running, because it's a long race, it's hot on the beach and quite cool in the water, and they really don't go out, I mean, as you'd think they would, knowing how far there is still to go. They're really just going flat out, absolutely flat out, to make sure they get that good clean break into the water.
Well, that's Seiji Ianuma, another international teams competitor from Japan, out in front at the moment, making the most of this first run leg, going for his time in the sun, so to speak. Brett Tyack right behind him, and Craig Hackett in 3rd.
Yeah, Brett Tyack's an interesting competitor. He's basically a rookie. He's doing his own thing on the tour. He was a bit of a wild card entrant initially. Nathan Meyer, number 11 to the right of screen, he's a former World Ironman champion, and Craig Hackett, who's up there early as one of the lead runners, is probably the fastest swimmer in the field. So now the leaders, Brett Tyack in 1 and Craig Hackett in 2.
It's so important, as we've seen, Grant, throughout this whole World Oceanman series, to establish yourself in the first run. More so almost in the men's race, because the run is that much longer than in the women's. So as we see Craig Hackett now head out into the swim, he's one of the strongest swimmers in the field as well, so he's placed himself almost perfectly in this round number 4 race.
Yeah, what he doesn't want, of course, is to have another 5 or 10 people bashing around him and to try and have to push his way through the pack, because it's very rough kind of swimming. It's obviously very different to pool swimming, where you don't have a lane to swim in and you've just got rough water and you've got everyone else over your shoulder. Let's take a look at the course. The guys will swim. It's going to be a rectangle. They've just completed the run. They're on their way out now on the left-hand side of your screen. They go around the buoys, make their way across the back, and then back into the beach over on the right-hand side there now. And there's a good shot from the air. You can see how tightly packed they are even at this stage. and obviously that's going to slow you down with someone dragging across your heels.
Well, that's Kane Hoosner, who looks to be in the lead right now. He is another very, very strong swimmer, Grant. You talked about how important it is to have clear water around you, and you can see the people behind him trying to get on his heels to make use of that draft.
Yeah, this is where it's most important, too, as you make your way around the first of the turning buoys. It's just chaos, as you can see. Everyone's belting over. I see somebody just got pushed under and washed right back. But now he's in clear water. He can think about his own technique. He doesn't have to worry about fighting. He's just going to stretch out now, get into a rhythm. He can look, he can breathe left, he can breathe right, and he just makes sure nobody's actually pushing his feet down. So he's in a very comfortable position. It's where they all want to be.
That's a great underwater shot. Our two equal first competitors, Craig Hackett and Kane Hoosner, will have to see who's behind them, but they look very, very comfortable. And another fantastic shot of just how it looks like a swarm of teeming fish out there. Absolutely incredible. Going around this buoy becomes a fight for your life.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because we've talked a lot about how hard they all go in the run and the opening legs here just to get established into clear water. It's actually not quite as important for the swimmers as it would have been if they were paddling the kayaks first, because there is no room at all to fit that many people around that first turning buoy. So whilst it's important for the swim, it's even more important for the kayak. But today, the draw was swim first for the water legs, and as they make their way back to the beach now, it's still Craig Hackett and Kane Hoosner.
Well, this is the all-important surf line. Let's see if anyone can get on this wave. And yes, that's Craig Hackett. He'll get that much-needed little break on the rest of the field. As you see everyone behind him stand up and look over their shoulders, they'll have to decide now whether to jump up and run or jump into the oncoming surf to try to get that extra little ride in.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a great bit of surfing too there by Craig Hackett as we watched Josh Blair body surf past. Hackett just kept his head down. He head down, kick hard, and you might have noticed that he was dragging himself along with one arm, just a half a swimming stroke, and that enabled him to pull over the front of that wave. Remember how hard they've been going, and he'd be really short of breath, and of course when you're doing that, trying to pull onto a wave, you've got to hold your breath. You can't come up for breath because you'll miss the all-important wave.
We just saw a number of top-ranked competitors come through. We saw Guy Andrews, Josh Blair, Stephen King, and now we see Darren Mercer coming through. He has not had a swim, I'm sure, that he's very proud of, well in the back of the field.
Yeah, not a good place to be, but there is a long way to go, and as we look at him now, Craig Hackett's still in front. Kane Houston's caught right back up. Brett Tyak's there. Stephen King is there. Guy Andrews, a champion competitor, in fact, twice Australian Ironman champion. He's also up there. So as expected, all the big names still well and truly in this race.
Kane Hoosner, Craig Hackett taking their kayaks out now. They'll jump on them and begin to paddle. Look at this though, Grant. They've actually beached themselves. The rest of the field goes by them. The water was too shallow underneath them.
Yeah, that's just bad. I mean, that's nothing, that really is inexcusable. These guys really should know when you run in, you really want to keep running until you're up to almost waist depth water to be well and truly sure that the rudder that's sticking down the bottom of these ocean kayaks, down the back of them, which they use to steer, is clear of the beach. Good shot of Steve Pullen, I think it was, leaning back then to try and lift the nose as he punched through that white water.
Well, one competitor that isn't complaining about those rudders in the sand is our current leader, Guy Andrews. As we take a look now at the course the kayaks will do, they'll go out around the furthest red buoys, and they actually will now make an M-shaped course coming in through the surf line, heading back out through the surf line again before finishing around, coming back through the surf line a second time.
Okay, and back to the lead is Guy Andrews. It is on the orange skiers, just ahead of Stephen King, a youngster from the Gold Coast in Queensland. Really making good work of it here. Andrews turns, and you'll notice that Stephen King's about a half a ski length behind. What he's doing at the moment is sitting on the side wash of Guy Andrews' ski. Once again, as we discussed in the swim leg, it's about 20 or 30% easier to sit there and drag along with the pace of the competitor in front. Usually, though, they'll only do that on the way out. Coming back home when there's a chance of picking a wave, it's usually every man for himself. And there's Kane Houston, who was well up. We saw he led the swim, and is back a bit now in this ski leg.
Well, look at this. We see Guy Andrews trying to fight over the front of this wave, and it looks as though he'll have it. This will give him a much well-deserved break on the rest of the field. Now becomes crunch time. This is the tricky part. Can he keep it straight, pointed towards shore? And no, he didn't at all. A wasted opportunity for Guy Andrews. Grant, he will now obviously have to scramble back onto his ski and hope that people are not on the wave, and certainly, there we go.
Well, there's half the
all
field
behind him.
Absolutely. Well, that's just one of those things that's going to happen, and these skis are very, very difficult to control. They're a very sharp entry. The bow of them's very sharp, And if you get slightly off center, or if the wave breaks a little bit uneven behind you, it'll kick the tail around. And once they start to turn, it's almost impossible to recover.
And look at that. Matt Bowman, I believe, just rammed the Oceanman flag that denotes the turning point in the M-shaped course. Our early leader, Guy Andrews, now has gone from first back to fourth or fifth position. They'll have to go back out through the surf line like we described. And Matt Bowman, it looks like, from Team South Africa, someone who really hasn't been up in the front that much in the previous rounds. There's Team Australia's Scott Reeves back from illness. He had a bout of glandular fever. It's great to see him back in the lineup, but it's absolute carnage going around that flag.
Yeah, well, that's there to make it interesting, and it certainly makes it difficult as well as we watch Matty Bowman paddling along. But basically what happens is he positioned himself across so that he was on the inside for that turn, and the guys that are thinking are always thinking about the next turn, trying to be on the inside for the next turn. Oh, I don't know, I'm not quite sure who that was.
I think that was Simon Martin, Grant,
yeah,
just getting hammered, number 14. But I know you started to talk about the tactics involved with racing, and it's absolutely true. Physically, these competitors are almost evenly matched. It really comes down to whose wits are better on the day.
Yeah, the other interesting thing is, as we take another look at Guy Andrews, you see the wave kicked his tail around real quick. And Guy made actually then a fundamental mistake throwing his legs over the side. I think he might have been better to leave his feet in the foot straps where he could have held on, and he probably could have got washed in sideways. But the other interesting thing that is really important for these guys is surf skills. So we've got pretty much equal fitness ability. Now it comes down to tactics and surf skills and who makes the least mistakes, who capitalizes on the maximum amount of opportunities.
And that's a great shot of our top 5 competitors. Stephen King at the top of your screen, Joshua Blair at the bottom. It looks as though Joshua is going to back off. Corey Hutchins then becomes on the bottom of the screen on the yellow ski. And so these guys, there's Dean Mercer coming through. They're going to finish this kayak leg. They'll go on to the paddle boards next. We'll have to see who jumps off first. It looks as though it's going to be Stephen King. There's Brett Tyak, number 16, paddling in very easily. It is Stephen King, number 9. Number 6, Dean Mercer. Matt Bowman, Team South Africa, in third. And that looked as though Corey Hutchins from Team New Zealand in fourth.
Yeah, it certainly was. And you notice the transition. A lot of these guys are pushing really hard. There goes Simon Martin, Kane Houston. I can see, I think Scott Reeves there as well. But the transition's important. How quickly and cleanly can you get off the ocean kayak and get onto the beach and start running? Because a lot of the guys get there and start to fumble around. And here's another important part of the race. Let's watch how hard they run after they've picked up their boards and start to make their way out to paddle depth water.
Let's talk a little bit about Stephen King. I know you've known him for a number of years. He's raced in Australia for a number of years, but he hasn't won a big race yet, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's just heading out there now on this board paddle. And just quickly to recap the course, the board will do an M shape, very similar to the ski, but it's only half the distance out, or halfway between the swim and the ocean kayak course. But Steve King's been one of these young guys. He's just come through. He's been a constant worker. He's been competitive and consistent. As we look at Thomas Zacher from Team Team Europe, we've got Tim Gare there from Team USA, and this is Matt Thomas from Great Britain. But Steve King's been coming through the Uncle Toby series, been getting stronger and stronger. He's one of these new young guns. A lot of the guys that have been around for a long time, like the Mercers, like Trevor Hendy, like Dwayne Tyes, these sort of people, they're now approaching their late 20s, early 30s, and it's the new blood, the 17, 18-year-olds that are starting to come through. Stephen King's one of those shining stars.
And Stephen King there out in front, as you said, and Dean Mercer now. But again, waves playing a pivotal role. 4 people coming through, catching the 2 in front. We'll see who can stay on this wave. It just becomes, like we've said before, a battle of tactics.
Oh, Stephen King, not watching where he's going there, runs right into Dean Mercer. And they missed that wave. You know, they were out in front, and this is surf playing his role again. We saw in the women's race, Kim Tennell was out front and was able to capitalise on a wave right here. There's Mike Newman, one of the Baywatch stars and a former US Ironman champion of lifeguard competition. But the waves played the opposite role here today for these 2 guys. They brought the rest of the field up to them.
We talked about Corey Hutchins before the race. He now is our leader in at the halfway point of this paddleboard leg. Corey had a bout of illness earlier this year. He's now in his 2nd race back in the World Oceanman series. He'd have to be ecstatic with his results so far today.
Well, absolutely. In fact, because of that illness, he's not only missed a lot of race experience and, in fact, most of the season, but he's also missed a lot of very, very valuable training. So good for him to be back in racing and certainly to be up there and doing well.
Scott Reeves, Team Australia, coming around the midway point in the paddleboard. He'll head back out through the surf line now. It looks as though, Grant, that the surf has actually picked up a great deal from the women's race we had earlier today.
Absolutely. There's been some decent-sized sets coming through, and I know the guys were very much looking forward to a wave, and Laguna's turning it on for them here today. Quite tricky in the short break. You notice where they're making their way in, it's quite an even break out the back, but just a bit nasty to punch through. Steve Pullen again. Trevor Hendy right behind him. He's a 5 times world champion, 6 times Australian champion. He's an awesome athlete, and back a little bit in the pack here today. I don't think he'd be terribly happy with that, having won round 1 of the World Oceanman Series in New Zealand.
Well, here's a name we haven't mentioned much today on the right-hand side of your screen. Out in front, Josh Blair. He won in Mooloolaba, our previous race, in round 3, so it would be fantastic if he could repeat Kim Tennell's result. But Kane Hoosner on the inside has now come through equal first.
Yes, and Dean Mercer missed that wave. So Dean Mercer has now dropped off the pack. We've got Kane Hoosner, we've got Michael King, we've got Stephen King, Josh Blair, who we just mentioned, who's had a great performance so far. Come up now to make up the lead pack, I think, still with Corey Hutchings. So bad luck there for Dean Mercer, I'm sorry, as he's dropped off that wave. But Kane Houston straight back in the picture. How fortunes change so quickly.
Absolutely. He was over 20 seconds back after that kayak leg, but now after 1 leg more, he's right up with the leaders again. That's a great shot, I believe, of Stephen Meredith coming down away from the Ocean Cam camera. Josh Blair in first, Stephen King in second, and look at Kane Hoosner on the left, charging through this run transition. Grant, you talked about how pivotal and how important these run transitions are.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the way some guys really still kind of just brush it off as another part of the race as Darren Mercer paddles past. But look at that, Kane Houston now back to the lead after a solid transition. So that's been a good run for him. The guys are going to do a complete lap of this run course now as they approach the halfway mark of this race. So tough going for Trevor Hendy and Steve Pullen there. Matt Bowman's dropped back again.
Well, Josh Blair, it looks like, has moved back out in front as they complete the second half of this middle run course. We'll see them go through all 3 disciplines again. But as we've said, you can't stress enough how important it is to set up those 3 disciplines with this middle run leg. There's Corey Hutchins, Team New Zealand, dropping back a little off the pace. It could be that this first half of the race has taken a little bit more out of him than he had thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a pretty, it's a tough race. We saw the pace that's actually Massey about to get lapped by our race leaders. We saw the pace at the start. They're certainly not going out like it's an endurance event. It's been pretty much a sprint. And with the surf, of course, as you get knocked back, and then you have to go really hard, almost sprint, in fact, to get back up to where you were before, and then sprint again to try and catch little lumps in the surf or even to pick up a little bit of a wave. It really is a very, very intense race. And if you have gone out a little bit hard, then it's very easy to start to die off a little in the latter parts of the race.
Well, 2 very strong swimmers side by side, Kane Hoosner and Josh Blair, as we see Dean Mercer and Corey Hutchings go by. I'm always amazed at Dean Mercer. He never gives up. He is one competitor that seems to do everything we say about working the transition and charging and never giving up. It's just an amazing thing to see him scrap through these races.
He's a very, very tenacious sort of a competitor, and we talked about a good transition. He's got very short legs, and yet he ran so hard into that water while the other guys had waded in slowly and were sort of gradually making their way through the surf. He kept the legs up, a couple of dolphin dives, and with a lot of energy over a short period of time, he was able to make up about 15 metres in a matter of literally seconds. And so that's the sort of competitor that's going to come out and end up winning these sort of races.
Now, Stephen King's in 3rd position, Grant, and I guess he would be trying just desperately to stay on that wash of Josh Blair and Kane Hoosner for as long as he can, because Kane and Josh much stronger swimmers than Stephen.
Yeah, you'll see him lift his head every now and then. He's going to keep his head up so that he can see out in front and see where they are, because it is a lot easier. And once you're back by about a body length or a body length and a half from the competitor in front of you, you start to lose the effect of that drag, that slipstream effect that there is there that can drag you along. And he certainly doesn't want to lose that. So he'll fight very hard to stay within touch.
and these two front runners have stayed neck and neck throughout our swim leg. Remember, it's a rectangle course. They will not come through. But look at this out behind them. You can't see off screen, but we'll have to see it come from the left. A huge wave out back. We'll see how long these swimmers can stay on it. It's so difficult to catch these waves, especially when they're broken, Grant, like that. When it's just white water, it's nearly impossible for these swimmers to jump into that wave and get the ride to shore.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the guys that's probably the best in the world at doing that's Craig Riddington. He's out there filming for us at the moment, but it's near impossible when you get caught in what we call no man's land and you've got white water coming through that's near impossible to pick up, and you've got other guys that caught the wave further out the back while it was still green. It really is a terrible place to be, and you can just see people from 30, 40 metres behind go right past you like you never had any chance of picking the wave up.
Well, whoever did catch those waves out back did not catch our leaders, because it still is number 7, Kane Hoosner in first, and number 4, Josh Blair in second, and number 9, Stephen King in third. As we see a number of our swimmers continue to come in, there's a shot of Simon Martin jumping on a broken wave, but Kane Hoosner now will head out and get ready for this kayak leg. A very strong kayaker now. These two, which we see in the lead, were very strong in the swim, but I'd have to say Stephen King is a stronger kayak paddler.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed fortunes between the two of them, I guess, over the years as far as who's a better paddler. Josh has certainly been going well. It started off as being by far his weakest leg, and we had earlier in Australia seen in previous years dynamic performances in the swim and paddleboard from him, but when he got onto the kayak he really did struggle a lot. But that certainly isn't the case anymore. He does hold his own very well.
Well, that was Stephen King. We just talked about how comfortable he was in the kayak. However, he fell on inside the surf line. Matt Bowman, South Africa, coming through. Nathan Meyer, the curled world champion, coming through. And Steve Pullen, number 10, taking his kayak out to sea. He'll try to attack this kayak leg as best he can and make some ground on these leaders. But there it is. It looks as though as Kane Hoosner has moved into first, Josh Blair in second, and we'll see where they end up as they go around the buoy. Another shot of Matt Bowman, Team South Africa, as he goes through that surf line.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's really nothing in this race, is it? The guys have been racing for a long time. They've been through the they've had the opening swim, they've done a kayak, then they've done the paddleboard and the run. They're back. They've had another swim. They're back on the kayak again with only the paddleboard to go. And there's about 5 or 6 guys, I really believe, at this stage, any one of them could win this race. So this is incredibly close racing as they work hard now to pull onto a wave. Oh, just about. Yes, they're just going to pull over it. And this is where they get a chance now to sit down, breathe in, and suck a bit of air into the lungs and try and recover a little bit.
That looks like it may be Michael King there on the left of your screen. Michael King, a very good competitor who's been near the pack, but look at this. He'll have to carry his skis so far down to go around that flag, whereas Kane Hoosner was in a great position.
Absolutely, and we talk about thinking ahead, we talk about tactics, we talk about not making mistakes. I mean, that was a fundamental mistake. There was no one else near him that he couldn't have come closer to the turning flag. He just had to be there. Dean Mercer jumps off early, knowing that the wave's going to push him past. Great skills by Dean Mercer, thinking ahead.
Dean in 4th position now, and next to him on the yellow kayak was Brett Tyak. Brett, another competitor that has been close to the front in a lot of races. He's never won a big Oceanman or Ironman race, so if he can stay in contention, today maybe could be his day.
Yeah, well, it's certainly still anyone's race, as we said, and the guys all working hard, and it's really getting down to the business end of the race now too, because these last few waves we've started to see them drop the rest of the people off the back of the pack, so now we've got to be concentrating. They've got to make sure they get on waves early, hold them straight, so when they come down a wave, particularly on the ski, you'll see them on the ocean kayak, you'll see them paddle hard to try and keep the rudder in clean water at the base of the wave and not let it get too tangled up in that white water.
We just saw a great shot of the gap, but look at this. Michael King really putting in the big strokes, trying to make up for that mistake. He will pull onto this wave, it looks like. A great job.
I think that might be Dean Mercer, who's just been pushing hard there, but all the same, it was a great bit of work from him to pull onto that wave. I mean, he didn't quite get it, but you saw that from all that extra effort, he translated it into about a 50-metre gap on the people that he was paddling with. So hard work at the right time can certainly pay off. Oh, Josh Blair's coming sideways, see? That's terrible stuff. Josh, he's had some mixed fortunes here today.
Well, you saw and you talked about the force with which the wave just shoots you forward. And of the 4 people that got on that wave, only 2 were able to keep their kayak straight. And I believe that's Brett Tyack. Here we see another shot of Josh Blair going sideways, actually getting in the wash of the jet ski of our camera boat. And look at that. He did keep his feet in the footwells as long as he could, but the wave was just too powerful.
It's interesting when you get down to this end of the race and you see, you know, in past years racing in Australia, a lot of the good guys could afford to make mistake after mistake and still go on and win a race. And but now the depth is so great. There is so many good competitors that the tiniest mistake takes you instantly from first back about a half a dozen places, and then you're fighting to catch it back up again. And we've seen it happen to Dean Mercer. He dropped off the back of that wave on the paddleboard, then he fought his way back up to the lead, then he'll miss another wave, and so on. And this it's just happening time and time again. Simon Martin pulls onto a little wave.
And you can always play that guessing game, obviously. What if I'd gone on that wave, or what if I hadn't made that tactical error? But as we know, this is surf racing and anything can happen. It's one of the reasons why so many of these competitors love to race in these conditions.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually, because when it comes down to how tough you are mentally, you're not just dealing with pain and heat and conditions and so on. You're dealing with frustration in that if you make a mistake and give away 30, 40, 50 metres, or if you don't make a mistake, if it's just luck, somebody happens to crack a wave from behind, there's nothing at all that you can do about it. How do you cope with that mentally? I mean, and that becomes an important part. Now, speaking of mentally, look at Kane Houston shaking his head. He looks over his shoulder, there's 2 or 3 guys on a wave. All of that lead, 30, 40 metres now gone. Completely gone, and that is Brett Tyack on the top of your screen and Dean Mercer on the bottom. Kane Houston is now in a sandwich. This is the first half of the paddleboard leg. We only have half of this leg to go, and now all of a sudden, Brett Tyack is our race leader. Yeah, well, around this turning marker, this is interesting. Look at him looking out ahead now. Brett will be looking out at the break, just looking for the best way to go through. Some of the guys who aren't thinking will just plough straight on into it. The guys that are thinking as they're running down the beach will be looking for the easier way through the break and heading across that way while they're still running and can easily change direction. And we talked about those transitions, and look at this. Kane Houston working the transition through the surf line a lot better, and now we have this chase pack coming through, and in front of the chase pack, it's Guy Andrews, number 5. He's trying to make up for some poor races in previous Oceanman rounds, but it's Kane Houston really doing a great job fighting through this whitewater. We'll see if the rest of these guys can get over these waves. It looks as though they have. Brett Tyack sitting comfortably back on that board wash. And that next pack has got Stephen King, it's got Michael King, it's got I think I saw Josh Blair was in there. There's a whole bunch of good competitors. Stephen Meredith had come into the back of that pack, so there's a lot of pace in there with Guy Andrews, of course, leading them along. And there is our leader, Kane Houston, staying up on his knees to do that turn. You'll notice that as the race goes on, we talked about this in the women's race, they tend to drop down on their bellies or the prone position to make those turns. But Kane not giving anything away, trying to finish this race as much and as hard as he can. But Dean Mercer, look at this, on the bottom of the screen coming through. He could very well actually have the lead at this moment. Yeah, well, he can see that it's only about 50 metres till they hit the beach, and then it's just a short run to the finish line, so he's sprinting hard, trying to get any little chops that he possibly can. Brett Tyack is working hard too, trying to get onto a wave, but no, it's Mercer and Houston. Mercer and Houston are on the same wave, sprinting. They're going to get up and run now. This is the finish, Grant. Look at this. Dean Mercer trying to lift his legs, but Kane Houston just a little bit longer of a leg, a little bit longer of a stride. He's able to bust through that white water just a little bit easier, and that is going to be the difference, it looks like, in round 4 here in Laguna Beach. Your winner, Kane Houston, and in second place, Dean Mercer. Incredible after 1 hour of racing that the finish would be this close. And in third place, a great result from Brett Tyack. I believe it will be Brett Tyack who'll come through in third. Yes, and such are the fortunes of Oceanman racing. These 3 guys shoulder to shoulder as they made their way towards the beach and then spreading out. Guy Andrews it is who comes through in 4th place, and he's had a good finish too. He was back as far as about 5th at one point. Michael King through in 5th, and here's a battle for 6th.
It was a hard race out there. All 20 of us were going for a hammer and tack the whole way. With the conditions like this, someone can pick away from out the back and all of a sudden be level with you, so it's not really over until you hit that ramp and you know you got it there. Oh, it's a buzz now. It's unbelievable. Words can't describe it.
Dean Mercer from Australia.
Lead was changing so much in and out of the break, you know. It had to be so tactical, and then I was able to stay in touch with the lead pack all the way through there. But, you know, the last little wave there, Kane and myself running up towards the end of the beach, you couldn't ask for a more exciting finish. I'm ecstatic, you know, to be competing with these guys. You know, it's fantastic. This is just the best thing that ever happened. But unfortunately, I couldn't get up and win today. Kane got up and won, and deservedly so. He had a great race.
You saw the top 5 men through the line. In 6th place, winning that sprint to the finish, was Team New Zealand's Corey Hutchings over Joshua Blair in 7th, Stephen Meredith in 8th, 9th, Stephen King, and rounding out the top 10, Stephen Pullen. The top team results from today were Corey Hutchings, Team New Zealand in 1st, Matt Bowman from South Africa in 2nd, Scott Reeves from Australia in 3rd, and Matt Thomas from Team Great Britain in 4th. Our current team standings after round number 4, Foster's Team Australia in 1st with 31 points, Team New Zealand at 25.5 in 2nd, and Team South Africa in 3rd at 22.5.
That wraps it up from Laguna Beach, round 4 of the World Oceanman series. Our next stop is beautiful Waikiki Beach in Hawaii. I'm Craig Hummer. For everyone at Oceanman, see you next time.